The presidency of the United States is not, in general, something people voluntarily relinquish. This is understandable enough. It's an interesting job and comes with its own plane. Incumbent presidents do sometimes lose elections, as happened most recently in 2020, even if the guy who lost is still whining about the result.
That was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it.
Presidents are, at least since the 22nd Amendment was ratified in 1951, prevented by term limits from continuing beyond 2 elected 4-year stints. They occasionally get shot or otherwise die in office. One has resigned. But few leave the White House unless they have to. James Polk, James Buchanan and Rutherford Hayes all ran on a promise to serve only a single term and kept it. Calvin Coolidge ascended from the vice presidency upon the death of President Warren Harding in 1923, won the 1924 election but declined to run again in 1928. It would be, he said, simply too long for one man to do the job. Harry Truman was an echo of Coolidge. He became president when Franklin Roosevelt died, won in his own right in 1948, but didn't turn up for 1952, in his case after reading his polling numbers.
I shall not be a candidate for re-election. I have served my country long and I think efficiently and honestly. I shall not accept a renomination. I do not feel that it is my duty to spend another 4 years in the White House.
And the most recent US president who didn't go on when they could have had a similar CV. Lyndon Johnson was vice president when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. Johnson won by miles in 1964, but by 1968 was beleaguered by the war in Vietnam, his own declining popularity, and primary challengers from within his own party, including JFK's younger brother. LBJ walked away.
Making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Since President Joe Biden's calamitous performance in the first candidates' debate, there has been understandable speculation gusting hope that Biden might also recognize that his time is up. One CBS YouGov poll taken after the debate found that fully 72% of registered voters believe that Biden is no longer up to the job, and that 45% of Democrats think he should quit the race. As of this broadcast, Biden insists he is staying on the ticket. If he defies current polls and wins in November and serves/survives a second term, he will be 86 when he leaves the White House. Consider, by way of perspective, that Bill Clinton left the White House in 2001 and remains 4 years younger than Joe Biden. A president can be removed from office by means other than an election. Either by impeachment, which is vanishingly unlikely in this instance despite the fevered insistence of some among the Yahoo caucus of congressional Republicans that Biden is the finger-steepling don of some Delaware mafia, or by invocation of the 25th Amendment, under which the Vice President and a majority of Cabinet can declare the President unfit or unable to continue. At least one Republican representative, Chip Roy of the Texas 21st, has introduced a resolution calling on Vice President Kamala Harris to do exactly that, but we can safely assume that Congressman Roy is just enjoying himself. Democrats understand that their party is perhaps uniquely capable of tearing itself to pieces at the best of times, without stirring an in-house coup d'etat into the mix.
That's something about the Democratic Party that we really respect. It is a big tent party. Many people are going to have their opinions. We are going to have our disagreements, and we really respect other people's opinions and thoughts.
So, practically speaking, it's up to Biden. If he does change his mind, he can step down immediately and hand over to Vice President Harris, who would become the first female president and the presumptive Democratic nominee, which would in itself be a considerable addition to Biden's actually pretty impressive legacy. Seriously, were Biden's record somehow transferred to a 50-something with a full head of hair who can stay awake in public, that candidate would take some beating. At least if so much of the electorate wasn't in thrall to a deranged, barely literate game show host with a criminal record. However, Harris polls at least as badly against Trump as Biden. That may change if she acquires the gravitas of incumbency and is able to stump what is a broadly popular Biden-Harris agenda. But according to one post-debate poll of registered voters, the Democrats' actual best chance is drafting former First Lady Michelle Obama, who has always responded with quite proper incredulity to any such suggestion.
I will not run for president. No, not going to do it.
If Biden instead announces soon that he will complete this term but not seek another, it would fall to the Democratic Convention in August to nominate a new candidate. Traditionally, American political parties have a horror of a contested convention, preferring just to broadcast joyous scenes of delegates ululating ecstatically in blizzards of red, white and blue balloons. But it could work for them. It would generate interest, excitement, and might look more vigorous and inclusive than whatever Price is Right Nuremberg the Republicans have planned. Biden loyalists are obviously entitled to retort that whatever their man's manifest infirmities, none of which will improve during a second term, he would still be a better president than Donald Trump. That is true. But no more true than it was in 2016 of any wavy-armed inflatable on a car dealer's forecourt, when Trump won, and in 2020 he didn't lose by much. For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Mueller.